Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox, and I'd like to welcome you to the Daily Compliance News. The Daily Compliance News is an offering of the Compliance Podcast Network. May 24, 2019, the Memorial Day weekend edition. First up, who is in your supply chain? The U.S. tech fight spreads as the Huawei backlash goes global. What does that mean for your supply chain? Are you working with any companies who are not Chinese yet who have Huawei chips? What are you going to do about this? All very difficult questions given the fluidity of trade sanctions and the trade war and the war with Huawei. Next up, from the Wall Street Journal, Deutsche Bank finds flaws in systems that track suspicious activity. The bank has found a glitch in its computer system that retroactively scans corporate client transactions for suspicious activity, the latest sign of trouble in the bank's effort to guard against potential money laundering for clients. The glitch, which apparently has been in place for up to a decade, hampered a program which scanned payments involving corporate clients after they passed through the bank so it can flag suspicious patterns to regulators. Certainly not something Deutsche Bank wants to have to deal with now, given all of the other trouble they are in. We continue in the banking industry with an article from the Wall Street Journal, which reports that recruiting and retaining compliance staff is a key risk for banks. Now, these are not kind of the national banks that you would expect, but these are really smaller banks, regional banks, and local banks who are having trouble recruiting top-notch compliance personnel. Obviously, getting good compliance personnel is expensive. I was interested to see that the banks actually blame the universities and academia for not training people, but the blame should be on the banks for not training such personnel. To improve the efficiencies of compliance programs, banks have turned to AI and basically gutted their internal corporate compliance programs. So this has led to, you would think, a pool of talent, but for some reason, banks cannot seem to locate this pool of talent. Small banks, however, have come up with some innovative resources, including collaborative agreements to pool money laundering compliance resources following the guidance from the OCC last year, and other innovative techniques. So banks need to find compliance professionals and utilize those compliance professionals going forward. And finally, if you've watched TV over the past couple of years and you're a sports aficionado, you're probably aware of the BeIN Media Group. Well, they made a big splash particularly in the world of international soccer or football outside of the United States. Well, it turns out that their CEO is charged in corruption in France for the bidding process for the World 2019 Track Championships, which are scheduled to be held in Qatar. If this is true and these allegations hold forth, it would certainly explain how the BeIN network has been able to really explode upon the scene and become a big player in the international sports market. Obviously, we'll have to follow this, and it's going to be interesting to see if they were involved in Qatar's World Cup bid as well. If you are interested in the new Department of Justice Evaluation of Corporate Compliance 2019 guidance, check out the most recent episode of Everything Compliance, where the entire gang breaks down a component of it. Finally, I'm extraordinarily pleased to announce a new show which will premiere on the Compliance Podcast Network in the month of June. It will be Trekking Through Compliance, compliance lessons from the original series of Star Trek. I'm going to do the entire TOS oeuvre over the next 79 days. I hope you will check in. It will be a short 5-minute podcast each day with compliance lessons from each episode. It will be a ton of fun.